We are live. What's up, everybody? Brad Modrich here. Thank you for joining. Again, those have been following me. I just wanted to put a big shout out to, I do this every time I start this podcast, my son who is recently deployed. He's overseas right now. He's a United States Marine. Absolutely love this young man. And I want to put a big we miss you, Brian. I do this, and just so you know, Dave, I do this on every one of my shows. I always talk about my son because we miss him dearly. Now, those of you joining today, I have someone that I've been blessed with today. It's crazy when you start laying tracks in your life, how people just come into your life. And, guys, I promote a positive lifestyle and just, being a force for good. And I'm just getting to know this gentleman that we have on today, but I feel absolutely confident. Those of you that know and follow me know how I feel about leadership. So the second I met this man, I knew it was an instant connection because of that pedigree of leadership. Again, the people who follow me know that the first leadership book I ever read was John Maxwell. You guys know how I feel about John Maxwell being like the OG of leadership that I've talked about. But let me introduce my guest. I'm so happy to have this guest on, Mr. Dave Ferguson. He is a published author. He is a coach. He's a leadership coach. And I could promise you, if you are in that leadership mantle, you're going to want to stay tuned to this one. Ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome Dave Ferguson. Hey, Dave, how are you?
I'm great, Brad. Thanks for having me on. I just want to make a couple comments based on your intro there. So, yeah. First of all, Brian, your son, thank you for your service.
Yeah.
And also you and your wife, thank you for sharing your son with the country.
Yes.
Right. I was my father was an Air Force veteran, and I'm an Air Force veteran. So,
that's great.
Service to your country and others, man. That's what life's all about. So thank you for sharing him. And Brian, if you're watching this sometime at some point, thank you for your service.
He's over in Okinawa right now. So fingers crossed. Hopefully we get him home here soon. We miss him.
And my significant other's son just graduated from Army Ranger School last week.
That's a tough school.
Yep. Went straight through too. We're proud of him.
That's a no joke school right there. Yep. Our Army Rangers. Those are some bad boys.
Yeah. He's a good kid, but he's a bad boy.
Right. A good bad boy.
We need more like that.
We do. So Dave, let's dig in. I want people to kind of know about you. I have, let me throw up your social media real quick because I want people to follow you. I want them to see what you're doing. I got your Instagram down there and I have your website down on the bottom. www.livingtolead.com. That's his website. So tell us a little bit about Living to Lead.
Well, I've been in the leadership space for 13 years now in the coaching industry. And I didn't always start as Living to Lead, but as I got more into the industry and I started working with leaders and, bosses, and, I wrote a book called Boss Your Leader where I talk about the differences. So I will use that terminology a lot. And that I started seeing the difference between bosses and leaders. And really started studying it. And I even went back into my corporate days to kind of look at the folks I worked with, right? And so I came up with this concept. I know you're a pretty fit guy and you're into fitness like myself. So remember, it's an oldie but goodie sticks around. It's like, how they say that you're either eating to live or living to eat?
Yes, I do.
Well, I found out that some people were only leading in their jobs. So that was like they got paid to lead, so they kind of led. Most of them I thought were bosses. Right. But true leaders, live to lead. So they lead. They're not always in charge, but they're leading in everything they do, starting with themselves. So that's how I kind of came up around that. And even when I do things like this with folks and I interview leaders, it's really about, not how you're necessarily leading at work, but, how are you showing up as a human being in the world and in your community? And, you were sharing with me offline, what you and your wife have done earlier today with donating the meals that you. And that's like, for me, that's a Living to Lead moment, right?
Yeah.
That's one of those things that gives me goosebumps when I hear that from people. So that's really simply what Living to Lead's all about. And it's kind of a mission for me. I think too many people are programmed just to lead in that role at work.
Mm-hmm.
If you just look at all the roles you have, you're much younger than me, but so you'll potentially have less. You're probably not a grandparent yet, right?
No, not yet.
Right. I am. I have 2 grandkids. So in essence, that's a role. Grandpa's a role.
Right.
Right? A spouse is a role. Teammates a role. You know, brother, your siblings a role. So you have all these different roles, and you can lead in all of them. Community member, you can lead in all of them, but you don't always have to be in charge. So you show up as a leader.
It's such a good point, because I know a lot of people that, and I'm sure you've come across this, that in their workspace, their career, their job, you know, for however long they've been there, you know, people look at them and they're like, wow, this guy's so good. But then you kind of peel back the, you know, the onion a little bit, and, you know, there's issues at home, there's marital issues, there's financial issues, there's all kinds of stuff. And I'm a firm believer that what you're doing, and this is why the more I kind of dug into kind of finding out about you, I was really excited about today, because it's so strong. Like living to lead, like it's a purpose. It's not just about going in, punching that clock and being all you could be when you're in that moment, but it's in every facet of your life, right? You know,
it never feels it can be challenging, but it never feels like work.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And you're actually catching me right now in this moment of my whole journey, where this is where I'm super excited, because it's the first time that I feel that I'm living to lead. Like it like clicked. Yeah. And serendipitous, the powers that be, whatever you want to call it, you came into my life, and I'm just like, I am absolutely, let's do it. It was a no-brainer. Yeah.
So I think we should tell the audience that I reached out to you because of what I saw in you. Right? You didn't reach out to me, and I get reached out to all the time, and that's great. But I like to reach out to. I got a good feeling. I watched some of what you've done. I've watched some of these Conquer Your Conflict podcasts, and I almost felt like I was obligated to reach out. And that's that whole that's when you have that living to lead piece, you will do that. You know. I grew up asking for help in this industry, going to mentors, asking for help. Like, right. I didn't have mentors reach out to me unless they wanted to sell me something. And hence that's not really a mentor, but, you know, and so now that I'm at that part of my life, I'm doing the same thing, right? Like what I've learned from my mentors, some of them, I'm just passing it on. And I see energy and talent and action, not just words, right? Like it's so easy. There's so many people in our space that are talking, and they're always on and talking and talking and talking, but you know, what are they really accomplishing, right? Yeah. And so it's important, and it all boils down to leadership, however you put it. I just think when you shouldn't have to say you're a leader. Let's put it that way, right?
Mm-hmm. It should just be known. It should radiate.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right. People should be saying about you, wow, that's a leader right there. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to follow that person.
So let's talk about mentors. Who were some of the people, and I ask a lot of my guests, especially, you know, people who are in a leadership role, who were some of the people that were, you know, important in your kind of coming to who you are? And maybe it could be in the beginning stages of your journey, or mid-level, you know, or now. Who was the one person you could sit back and you could just say, you know, this person was such an important role in my development?
I'm not sure I could go to one person, but so let me give you the timeline, okay? Because I have a lot of people that. So first and foremost, my grandmother and mother. I lost my biological dad when I was 6, and really met him at his wake. Okay. So my mother and him had been divorced since I was born. So my grandmother and mother early on in my life. Okay. And then I sought out male mentors, because I didn't know what a mentor was back then when I was a kid. I can't get into the whole story, but it's a funny story. Like, there was one part of my life when I was really young that we lived next door to a volunteer fire department. And our house was next to the parking lot where all these firemen came in. And I just was starving for male, I didn't call it leadership then, but I was starving for male leadership back then. So when I'd see those guys after work come in, they'd park their cars and they'd be out there washing the fire trucks and drinking a beer and stuff like that, I would go out and start kicking a ball around and kind of purposely kick it over towards the firehouse to get their attention. Well, I will tell you, several of these men kind of adopted me. And for long periods of time, as you know, one of them just passed about 6 months ago. And we kept in contact the whole time. And obviously, I don't even live anywhere close to where I was born and raised, but we kept in contact. I actually donated part of the proceeds of my first book to that fire department to create a scholarship fund. But yeah, I've had those. And then as I graduated up, you know, I probably had some through my school years, but, you know, I went into the Air Force, and there's some people there that were kind of mentors to me. I was blessed. I was at Andrews Air Force Base, so I was Presidential Support Unit. And so I was around a lot of leaders, right? And so there was there. And then, you know, in the corporate world, I worked, and I talk about this in my book, Boss and Leader, is that I worked for some bosses and I worked for some leaders. And there was one man that really helped me. His name was Paul, and he's passed now, but really showed me early on in my corporate days what the difference between a boss and a leader was, without saying it. It was all action oriented. Go through corporate, I had several, and then after 21 years in corporate, when I decided to get into the coaching, speaking, leadership business, I sought out some mentors. And so, and I'm still in contact with every one of them. So Tony Robbins was one. Jeffrey Gitomer, if you know who Jeffrey Gitomer is.
Absolutely, yep.
Obviously, John Maxwell, still a mentor today. Jeffrey, I speak to Jeffrey and John all the time.
Wow.
I get to see him I've got a home in Charlotte too, where Jeffrey is, so we get to spend some time together. So yeah, mentors are important. Selecting them is important. And the thing about it is if you wait for mentors to reach out to you, it's too late. You have to be willing to reach out to them and be willing to invest, because they have a lot of value and they're worth a lot of value. So it's not always free.
Right.
I could tell you it's cost me, those last three, it's cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars probably. Not definitely to put myself with folks like that. And there's others. And it's great to have their connection. Look, Jeffrey reminded me of something the other day where I kind of fell off track on one part of what I've committed to doing on a regular basis, and got me on track.
So I just want to quick touch base on something, because you just said something there, and I hope everyone heard that. You actually reached out to the mentor. You took the time. You put the work in to connect. Was that something that you learned, or was that something that you just said, you know what, I got to figure this out and swallow the humble pie, and I'm just gonna, just put myself out there? What made, because that right there, especially in a male role, right? Male pride, male ego. They don't want to call someone because they're like, I don't want to ask for help. This guy is never going to talk to me, whatever. There's a lot of things that probably go through people's brains why they don't just pick up the phone and reach out, because I'm just speaking from personal experience. I have done that more during quarantine than I have ever in the last 5 to 6 years of my professional career. And the more and more I ask, the crazy thing is the more and more help I'm getting.
Well, it's actually, my answer is pretty simple.
Yeah.
We like to be asked. Like if someone asks me to help them, I'm probably going to help them in anything, right? Like if somebody at the grocery store asks me to help them carry their groceries to the store, usually they don't even have to ask, because I look for that opportunity. But if they did, what am I going to, of course. And so if I have a gift or an energy or whatever that I can give someone, and they actually ask me for the help, I'm going to try to help the best I can. And I think that should be natural. I'm going to go back to living the lead, right? That's what that's all about, right? It should be natural for us. Pride and ego stops more growth, okay? A lot of people today, let's take it even to today. So many, I got asked this question earlier today. I was on another interview this morning. People are stuck right now. A lot of people are, okay? And I pray for them, okay? But I can only pray for them. I don't know who they all are, okay? And if they hide and they're stuck and they're comfortable there and they're not willing to ask for help, they're going to remain stuck. And sometimes if you want to come out of something or be successful at something, you've got to ask someone that's been successful at it to help you. And most of those people love to be asked. I like to be asked. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Does it stroke my ego a little bit? Maybe. I don't look at it that way. I almost look at it like it's for me, it's always like paying forward, right? It's like when I reached out to you, I see that as a paying forward moment. Is there wisdom? Do I have stuff that Brad can use? He's someone that's open to growing. I see it, right? And I think sometimes we have to be really good students before we can be really good leaders.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you should just ask. I used the analogy earlier, and I don't know if it's a popular analogy or not, but you see people today. For years, we see people along the side of a highway or an exit with a sign out that says, I need help. In essence, money, please, or whatever. And I'm like, it's not really asking that way. I think action. You got to take action, some form of action, right? And so. It just asks people. I think if people just ask for help, 9 out of 10 times people are going to say, yeah, let me see how I can help you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Maybe I can't mentor you full time, but maybe I can give you 10 minutes of just asking you a couple of good questions and seeing how you answer me to see if I can add something that can change something in your life.
Yeah. And that's so important right now, because you said people are in a funk. There's a lot of people out there in a funk. And even myself sometimes, just the past few days, it's been getting a little kind of itchy in the house. We're getting a little cabin fever. Thank God Sunday was absolutely beautiful here. We had such great weather. So it was the first time it kind of felt like back to normal a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But it was, if that day, if it was cloudy out and cold out and we were all in the house, there may have been an explosion in the Modrich residence.
Yeah. We don't speak sometimes.
Yeah. So let's shift the gears a little bit, because I have you right now. I want to talk about leadership. Leadership is extremely important to me. And there's some key fundamentals, I believe, that prepare a leader to lead, right? There's certain things that they do in the morning. And, last night in my network marketing company, they had me as a guest speaker to talk a little bit about mindset and how important mindset was. And when I talked about mindset last night, the first thing that I coach people on was to audit their thoughts on what they're thinking. And just, I want to stay in that leadership kind of space. What are some good questions that leaders could ask themselves about becoming better or doing more? Because this morning I thought about it, and again, I just love. I know it sounds super corny. I love living to lead, right? I do. I like that. Your website says it all. Yeah. I love living to lead. And when I wake up in the morning, I think, okay, what can I do? How can I serve? Who can I serve? From leadership, what are some of those questions that a leader could do to audit themselves?
It's a good question. So, I think first is you have to look in the mirror. Like, how well am I leading myself? Would I want to follow me? Mm-hmm. Right? Would I want my kids to follow this? Right? I think you have to ask. Leadership starts with you, right? It doesn't start with other people. Okay. And also comes down to your values. What's your values? Are you living your values? A lot of people say what their values are. I do values testing and help people create their top 5 values all day long in my business. But then we also talk about what are the actions you're going to take on each value, right? And you just build a strong values-based character that people want to follow. Mm-hmm. Because you stay within it. Doesn't mean you're perfect. It's like I say, I'm an imperfect Christian, right? It doesn't mean you're perfect. But you are living a life based on the values you set for yourself, okay, and the gifts you've been given. And so at first, the foundational leadership is leading yourself well. Not perfect, but I use the word well, not perfect. We're all imperfect. We all make mistakes. Some of us learn from them, some of us don't. But I really do think the foundation of that is leading myself first. Like, how do I, and it's not being selfish. It's really training camp for leading at higher levels.
Mm-hmm. That's super important. Let's turn it a little bit. Mm-hmm. What are some things a leader could do, right, to help get their team out of a funk? Mm-hmm. This has been a big thing. You know, every morning I have rituals and, you know, little things like, for me, I send text messages out. Well, actually, like voice memos. I do these little voice memos in the morning to people who are on my team, just to give them the framework of positivity. We're going to get through this, just to send that energy out there. I'm big on energy. I'm a huge transferring of energy, so people can kind of, you know, lift, right? And when they feel that, they feel better. And if they feel better, they act better. And if they act better, they do more. And if they do more, obviously the ripple effect comes into play. But from a coach standpoint, what are some key points that you're telling people to do? You know, like what are some, because I have these 7 steps that I'm going to touch base on before we get on the call. But from your area and from your leadership mantle, what does the leader sound like? What does the leader who leads men and women say?
Well, I would even take your example right there with the voice memos in the morning. I think it's great. Okay. What I think the next level of leadership would be is, are they developing those rituals themselves? And I love the fact that you use the word ritual, because I use that word all the time, because most coaches talk about goals and habits. But man, you take it to a ritual, it is a whole different level. When it becomes a ritual, habits can be come and go. Rituals are like, I've got rituals in the morning, like I never break them. They're like, nothing gets in the way of my morning ritual. Okay.
I'm with you.
I won't go deep into them, but I've got them. There's 5 or 6 before work. Okay. And I get up pretty early. I'm a 4-8. I'm in bed early and I'm up pretty early.
Okay.
But rituals are so important. Yeah, I think you got to build habits. And then the next step is, man, choose the ones you want to make rituals. That means you don't go a day without doing them.
That's right.
So I think as you pass that on, the voice memo is great, right? Now, what are they creating with that, right? Because it's easy for them to sit back, okay, and just go, I'm going to get a voice memo, a motivational and inspirational voice message from Brad every day, and that's all I need. No, it's not. If you are a leader and you want to develop those people into leaders, that's your primary job. It also becomes theirs, right?
So what are they doing with it?
Network marketing platform. Look, I get hired by network marketing companies all the time to coach and speak. They've been hiring me to come in on Zooms and stuff like that. And I talk about this, is that your number one job as a leader is not to drive sales. Your number one job as a leader is to to grow leaders. The rest will come. If you even take my living to lead mentality into that, right? In essence, in a lot of organizations, I'll pick on network marketing, and I don't even pick on it. I'm just going to point it out since you're in it, and I've been, and I've speaking coaching in that industry, is that oftentimes the number one value is making money. Okay, if you can help people understand that the greater they grow as a leader and the more leaders they grow, all the money in the world can come to them.
That's right.
Via leadership. Yeah.
So I don't know if you dug deep in, but I'm part of First Form supplement company. Are you familiar with First Form?
I am not.
First Form. It's owned by a gentleman by the name of Andy Frisella.
I knew who that is.
So Andy owned supplement superstores in St. Louis, and then started his own protein company. Started with protein and has his own supplement company now. So anyway, in First Form, his brother is the president, Sal. I had him on 2 weeks ago, Sal Frisella. And when I talk about the gold standard, in my eyes, of gold standard, Sal is just like the billboard picture of a father, a leader, everything. And when we started to talk, we have a saying that we say at First Form is, we don't sell supplements. We build people, and then people build the business. Because that's our true function, is we want people to become better physically, mentally, spiritually, financially. And how we do that is by leading by example. We have I don't have it on me. It's in my car. We have our core values. Our core values are, loyalty, go the extra mile, stay humble, be disciplined, accept responsibility, take initiative, lead by example, build positive and fun relationships, always be learning, be selfless, be enthusiastic, and believe. And that's like what encompasses us to help build one-on-one. And it's such an important part of the process. I talked to you a little bit before we jumped on here, and I really want to get your insight on this. I've been waiting to ask this question. Me personally, I feel that the law of attraction, we're going to talk about law of attraction here and leadership. Um, I have an understanding where I feel this energy, right? Like when I'm giving off good energy and I'm doing, and I'm just creating positive momentum in people's lives. There's that, I don't know, universal energy that's created, karma, whatever you want to call it. How do you feel law of attraction? And, what are your thoughts as a leader coach, about the law of attraction and the functionality of how important that is? What are your thoughts on that? Because some people say it's hokey. Some people are like, get out of here with that law. Like, just bust your hump, do the work, and that's what's going to create the ROI. What's your? I would love to hear kind of what your take is.
Well, since I'm a John Maxwell friend and follower, I'm never going to say laws are hokey, but because John wrote about a lot of laws, 15, 21, 10. But I never used the term law of attraction, but here's what I know.
So,
I was attracted to making connection with you somehow, whatever that is. You have great energy. That's maybe it. It could be my desire to lead other people in this industry and help folks pay back some of what I've been given by other mentors and stuff. I don't know what it is, right? I don't have to know what it is, which is great. What I understand is that when I get goosebumps about something or somebody, okay, I guess you could call that law of attraction. Like, I don't measure it. Like, I don't even sit back and think about it, right? Mm-hmm. I don't call it anything. Maybe I should label it. But in essence, I ask that question a lot. Like, what really gives you goosebumps? Right? And I don't mean getting cold, right? Like, when one of my clients like hits it out of the ballpark, I mean, I could be, for a couple of days, I could be like just on cloud nine, not about me, because they do the work. I've just been a little bit of a guidance system alongside of them, right? I just love that feeling. So does that make me more attracted to them? Yes. I mean, but I think the other thing is your thoughts, right? If you want to go to, I do know about the law of attraction. I don't want to seem ignorant to it. Mm-hmm. Thoughts are important. I think being a student's important, but nothing is more important than getting up to bat, right? And remember that old...
Say it again. Say that one more time, because they need to hear this.
Nothing's more important than getting up to bat. Your thoughts are important. Being a student's important, okay? But you got to get up to bat. Like it's like, okay, how-tos, right? There's a million how-tos on it. So let's just use 3 examples of how-tos. Okay, if you wanted to be rich, how many how-to books are there on that?
Okay. Hundreds of thousands.
Okay, if you wanted to be skinny, how many books are there on how to get
hundreds of thousands?
Okay, if you want to be happy, how many books are out? How-to books are out there?
Hundreds of thousands. Okay.
Well, if the how-tos were all we needed, how come we're all not skinny, rich, and happy? Because we're not willing to get up to the plate.
I love it.
We won't even come out of the dugout. Okay, you got to get up to the plate and at least try to execute. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean you're going to hit the ball every time. I was an average baseball player, but I got up to bat. Mm-hmm. Okay, and it's the same thing in life and business. It doesn't, like, I'm not a secret guy. Okay, because the secret never talks about execution. Okay, you have got to come out of the dugout, warm up, and then get up there and start swinging. Right?
Yeah.
My grandmother, I still have one thing my grandmother gave me. It was a little baseball bat. I'm a Yankees fan, but it was a Mets game.
Okay.
I got one of those little mini bats, like the bats that people use to like knock fish out when they catch them.
Yep.
Right. and it said to me at one point, there's going to be days that are going to be challenging in your life. There's going to be days that are tough in your life, but you always got to keep swinging. Right. You got to keep swinging, but you got to get up to bat. And I think that's where people get stuck in the whole thought process. And I'm an avid reader. I'm an Audible junkie. Okay, so I am leaders are learners, right? Mm-hmm. You got to do what you say, right? I mean, you got to walk the talk, right? And you have to execute consistently yourself. And so, I think thoughts are great. Studying and learning from others but you learn more from getting up to bat and swinging.
You just got to swing. I love that. Get up to bat. And that's where everyone stops.
You strike out. Okay. to get in the Hall of Fame, you only got to get 3 hits out of 10 times at bat. Right?
True.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Right? You bat 300, you get in the Hall of Fame.
That's right.
So what's the measuring stick for your Hall of Fame in your business and life? Right? Like some coaches I'm so different from a coaching aspect. Like I've had people that have had coaches, and then they come to me and they go, "When's the coaching going to start?" And I'm going to go, "Oh, it's already started. You just don't realize it because you're used to a coach showing up and go, okay, what goals do you want to accomplish?" I really don't even talk to goals in goals with people for probably the first 2 months I'm coaching them because it's more self-awareness.
Yeah. Talk about that.
Once you can get, you can tell me you're self-aware all day long, but I can really find out how self-aware you are in the first month or so. Right. And then I can take you on a journey of where your awareness is. Right. And use that awareness to really propel you to what you will intentionally do. Right. Because I'll go back to those how-to books. If you're intentional about losing 100 pounds, okay, so to get skinny, you're going to be willing to do some things than someone that's just going to say, "I'm going to read this book and try to get skinny." So it's what's your intention level? Like we're programmed by society, and a lot of coaches even program people to just say what you're going to do. Well, talk is cheap, right? Action gets you to your goals. Your thoughts don't. They help. They're the first piece of it, right?
Yep.
And they can propel you. But until you get your butt up and start doing stuff, nothing happens.
Dave, I am so excited to see where this relationship is going to go, man. You don't even know, brother. And those that have been following know, what made the podcast, the lives come to life was what you just said. I was 100% guilty of it. I left LA, did some things last year. It was kind of up and down and this and that. Oh, he's going to do this and he's going to do that. Some people might say, "Oh, well, there's a certain level of success," but in my mind, I knew I wasn't stepping up to the bat. And when Corona hit, this was an opportunity to show true character in leadership, where you got to be that person who steps up to the bat and take action. Like I'm a huge proponent of taking action is a big part of what I preach. Like it doesn't mean nothing what's up here. You don't get paid for what you know. You don't get paid for who you know. You get paid for what you do. Right. And that's just the reality of it.
A lot of people what's interesting about right now is I love this energy because I think we're both in the same spot around this whole pandemic piece that we're in right now. That in some people, they've gone into suspense mode. Right? They've gone into suspense mode, right? Where we have gotten some energy from this, right? And we're out serving, however we're serving, right? We're out serving. Like I feel I've served the last 2 months, like just crazy. And people go like, "How's it going?" I'm like, "It's going great.
Yeah,
good." All right. I can't go meet a friend for a glass of wine, or I can now, but as of yesterday. But there's certain things I can't do, but I'm concentrating on what I can do, not what I can't do. Right?
Concentrating on the solution.
It's leading me. Like that's leading me now. I'm not being led by what I can't do right now. And that's what I'm going deeper with my clients right now than I've ever gone. Right. I'm not even out there like trying to sell new people into coaching and stuff like that. I'm like, right now, my clients need me more than ever. Right. And that'll all come back because I know it. It always does. And so I do think energy right now and really looking for where can I add value right now, whatever you're doing, whether it's in your business, your community, your family, whatever, where can you add value right now? Call it as a leader or not. Like I said, you shouldn't have to even say it's as a leader, but it's a trait of a good leader.
Yeah. And that just goes right into play with what we've been banging over the head since March 9th. Number one, I feel that everyone should get their body moving a little bit. And tell me what you think about these 7 steps. Exercise. And my background, people know me from being in the fitness industry as a trainer, training the trainers, the developer of the trainers. So exercise is a huge proponent in my life. Saved me in more ways than one, keeps me sane. but exercise, and not just like, hey, I'm going to go lift some weights, but just go out, get your heart rate up, throw it. Like I said yesterday or last night on my call with my network marketing company, even if you got to turn some music on and just start moving, just get the body moving, right? Okay. So number one, exercise. Number two, read. And normally I would say self-development, personal development, somewhere in that wheelhouse, but I kind of called a little bit of an audible on this one. And I said, listen, I don't care if you want to learn how to make your grass green. I don't care if you want to learn how to crochet. Learn something that you're not just sitting there vegging out, right? Feed your brain a little bit. Number three, a to-do list. Be productive. There's something that happens when you check it off and say, you know what, I got it done. Right? I wanted to do this. I checked it off. I got it done. I feel good. And those little wins are going to help feed this, right? So be productive, a to-do list, keep a routine. Just because you can sleep in until 9 doesn't mean that you have to sleep in until 9, 10, whatever. Get up. If your normal work schedule was, I was up at 6, even if you've been furloughed or laid off, get up at 6. Keep that routine. Keep that biorhythm going. You're going to feel good about it. And when duty calls and you got to go back, it's not going to be a nightmare getting back on that rhythm because you've maintained it the whole time. So keep a routine. Don't waste time. And when I say don't waste time, don't sit there for hours upon hours doing Netflix and Hulu and this and that, because it's just going to be a complete horrible investment of your time. Don't waste time. And then the last one was, when in doubt, if you can, help others.
Beautiful. So it's interesting we talked about the word rituals, because if you take those 7, if those are your rituals,
those are my rituals.
Yeah, they're mine too. Like literally, like it's crazy. Like I don't put them out there like those 7 things, but rituals, man. Like we don't break rituals. So those are no brainers for us. Like if you were here right now or you followed me around, you'd see like, yeah, they're his rituals. Like, look, I'm 58 years old.
Wow.
I turned 58 a couple weeks ago. Okay.
You look great, man.
Thanks. But most people that follow me think I'm nuts because I exercise a lot. Like I do 500 crunches a day.
Wow.
Like I've had a change now, like not going to a gym, right? So I probably created a new ritual now using exercise bands. I may never go back to a gym again, except for group classes.
How about it?
Because I'm finding that this new ritual, I love it. It's easy. Like I got my it's all set up. Like it's so easy. Like I made it like
boom, boom,
boom. And for an old guy like me, the bands I'm finding are better because they stretch me. Right. So it's just these daily rituals. And yet for me, it starts with health because, and it was shifting, if you don't mind, shifting into a values conversation. No. Right. So I teach this with my clients. I teach this from stage, and my one-on-one coaching clients live this. Not my values, the ones I help them cement for themselves. And I stack mine like a ladder. Okay. Mine are vertical for a reason. Because when you have something vertical, there's a foundation. I'm going to build a building. Okay. I'm going to build the tallest building in the world, and that building is called my life. Okay.
Okay.
Well, the foundation for me, I spell out my vertically, I'm an acronym guy, the word faith, FAITH. Well, the foundation, the bottom letter is health, physical, mental, spiritual. Because if I'm not physically, spiritually, and emotionally and mentally healthy, I can't lead anybody. First of all, I can't lead myself. So I'm not good to anybody else. Now, at the top of that, the F is family. And most people will tell you, I ask audiences all the time, I go by a show of hands. When someone asks you what your top value is, how many of you say family? And 99% of the audience will raise their hand. I'll go, well, you're lying to yourself. That's what society wants you to say. If you're unhealthy physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, are you any help to your family? No, you're a hindrance.
Say it again. Hold on. I want people to digest that, Dave, because I don't know if they're going to make the correlation, because you're saying family. If you're saying your family is the most important thing, right? I do everything for my family. That's what drives me. That's my quote unquote, my why, right? We have in our, it's even on the back of my shirt, you know, what's your why, right?
Yep.
If your family is your why, but yet your health is you're deconditioned, you're not healthy, you're not taking care of yourself.
You're not learning.
You're doing a disservice to your family that you said was so important, because how are you going to provide the best version of yourself by not being healthy?
And not even just for your family, for your life. You know, if you stack, I'm a man of faith, and I purposely made the acronym FAITH. Okay.
I love it.
Integrity. I mean, family, accountability, integrity, time and trust, and health. Purposely, and it's wrapped in my faith. Okay. And so if my health is strong, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, I'm there for my family. I can be there for my family. Okay. I'm accountable to myself and others. I'm living and talking in integrity. Okay. I prioritize time. I don't manage time. Big difference. Time management's an oxymoron.
Correct.
Okay? Priority management isn't. I prioritize my time. Okay. And so all of that comes easier because my foundation is so strong. All right. And so you got to feed the foundation. Right. And then you can build a building like the largest building in the world called your life, however you want it, how many stories you want. Right. And the whole stories become your legacy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, man. This is I'm vibrating off of this one today, Dave.
It's good.
Yeah, you're borderline about to, brother. This is great, man. If you're just joining us and you're catching this at some point, no question about it. Go back and replay this. I'm very, very, very grateful that for whatever reason you came into my life. I'm appreciative of it. I can feel pretty confident, and I don't just say words. I back them with action. That this relationship's definitely going to continue. Again, for those of you that are just following, this is Dave Ferguson. He is the founder of Living to Lead. I got the website going down right now. I got his IG down there. If you're on Facebook, I'm going to tag him in this post. Follow him, watch his story. Dave, thank you so much for being on.
Thanks for having me, man. I'm glad we connected. Hey, I want to, if it's all right with you, I want to offer. Yeah. My last book, a second edition, is out.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to offer anybody listening to this right now 50% off.
There you go.
But not on Amazon.
Okay.
Okay. And this is a resource guide. This is not a one-time read. This is a book where you go through 16 chapters, very short. It's written at about a 7th grade level, so it's even good for teens and young adults as well. Mm-hmm. But you answer questions at the end of each chapter, and it helps you develop yourself as a leader, real simply. Really good for solopreneurs as well that are trying to build a vision for their business and life and things like that. So you get 50% off. If you go to livingtolead.com/books, you'll need to put in the promo code P as in professional, E as in essential, 101.
Hold on. Promo code here. What is it again?
PE101.
PE101. Let's get that bad boy up there. Bang.
And that'll give them 50% off.
Promo code. There you go.
Yep. Awesome.
Dave, thank you so much. I look forward to growing with you, leading with you, living to lead with you, so to speak. And I appreciate it. Follow Dave, Ask Coach Dave on Instagram for all the Instagram family out there on social media. Facebook family, obviously, just look him up, Dave Ferguson. Follow his story. Dave, thank you so much, man.
Thanks for having me, man. Keep living the lead, bro, and let's stay connected.
Yes, there's no question in my mind I will.
Let me know what I can do to lift you.
I love that. And you got to have faith. I love that. That was my nugget for today.
Excellent.
That was strong. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
everyone else. Remember, we all got conflict that we're going through. We're all battled with something. We're going through something. My question to you, the same thing that I ask every day we end this show. Are you going to conquer your conflicts? Are you going to fight the fight? And what are you willing to do to get it? And just like Dave said earlier, you could do all of this, You can do this as much as you want, but nothing's going to happen until you step up to the plate and you take a swing. Thank you so much, guys. Thanks for joining us today. Dave, thank you so much.
All right.
Appreciate you. Take care.